Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Alex Lopez Talks on the Alex Lopez Rocks YouTube channel. I'm Alex Lopez from the Alex Lopez Band, and joining me today is a very special person. She introduced me to Reiki and actually helped me get attuned and practice Reiki. Joining me today is Nicky Moreau-Cormier.
Hi,
Hey,
Alex.
Nicky, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Beautiful day, you know.
It is.
It's not quite summer yet, but the weather's starting to feel that way.
It certainly is today. A little bit too much so for May, but
Absolutely, yeah,
I'll take it.
Absolutely. Now, for people who don't know, Nick, like I had just mentioned in the intro, Nicky was actually the person who introduced me to Reiki, and a couple of other energy processes. She's also an amazing does amazing guided meditations. So she's actually the one who got me into guided meditations as well. So it's
nice to hear, Alex.
Yeah, so you've done a lot of good when it comes to the Reiki and all this stuff. You've been a very big influence on my aspect and my spiritual growth and development and healing. When we first met, a mutual friend of ours, shout out to Amy Green from Back in Touch Wellness. She was doing giving me a massage to help work out some issues that I was experiencing with spasms and with my lupus and my Sjogren's. And she asked if I had ever tried Reiki. And I said, "What is Reiki?"
Yeah.
And she gave me your card and she said, "Give Nicky a call, get scheduled in. Your world is going to change for the better."
Oh, that's nice to hear.
And it did.
That's even better to hear.
Yes, exactly. And I'm so grateful for it because the work that you've done is fantastic. So before we keep going, tell us a little bit, because for somebody who's never heard of Reiki or energy work, how would you describe it to somebody?
Okay, well, Reiki is a hands-on healing methodology. And when someone comes in, they get on my massage table and I lay hands on them. And Reiki is really the giving or the channeling of unconditional love. And love is what heals. So when someone comes in, I'm setting the intention that that they're going to be receiving this energy. And I've, of course, because I do the work, I've gone through training, I now teach it. And so my energy field or my aura has been acclimated to this Reiki energy. And really anyone can do this, you know what I mean? If you go through the proper training, anyone can do Reiki. So I don't want it to sound sort of mysterious or inaccessible in any way. It's very accessible. It's really just the channeling of love to the person who's on the table or in the chair in front of you. Reiki, it feels wonderful. It's wonderfully relaxing. I mean, since ancient times, people have been healing and receiving healing through touch. And, you might have seen, old paintings or whatever, where hands are laid on food, for blessing of food. So this has been happening, since ancient times. We've used touch as a healing modality. And so we're continuing that now. And it's wonderfully relaxing. If you've never received Reiki before, it's wonderfully relaxing. And honestly, it can be sort of miraculous. Well, I'm not going to say sort of, it can be miraculous.
Absolutely.
I see really wonderful things happen on the table. Of course, I can't sort of call when that's going to happen and, what kind of experience someone will have. That's sort of, it's up to them. It's sometimes it's divine timing. Alex, you've received Reiki many times,
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, as a receiver, how have you felt?
Ooh, turning it right back around on me. All right.
Well, I like the examples. I think examples help people.
Yeah, it's something that I think anybody I think it's something everyone needs to experience. I'm not sure how it would feel on somebody else, but you literally feel this energy circulating through you. And it's kind of like what you described. It's not just energy, it's love. It feels like the intention is there to bring the best out in you, make you feel better, you know, to heal.
Right. And when we have something wrong within our bodies, you know, that part of our body is just lacking life force energy. And so when you lay your hands on someone, you're giving them that energy that they're lacking in whatever part of their body, and filling that area. And love truly is what heals, you know? So, and also when you receive Reiki, you're laying down, you're calm, you're in a space to receive and a space to heal. And, you know, healing doesn't happen so well in a stressful environment. You know, we need to give ourselves that rest, that calmness in order for us to restore balance. So, you know, it's just a wonderful way to restore balance within the body. And Reiki, I'm talking about the body, but it can be used on emotional issues, spiritual issues, whatever. And Reiki is one part of energy medicine. There's just kind of like medicine itself, there's so many flavors, you know, so many specialties, and energy medicine's the same thing. Basically, in terms of energy medicine, when someone comes in to see me, we're really looking to address their issues, whether they're emotional, mental, physical, at the root cause, you know. We can take lots of medicines or whatever, we can do things to treat symptoms, which is fine and needs to happen for many people at different times. But this is really looking to get to the root of the issue. And I find that people's physical issues, everything, have to do usually with emotional issues, with traumas that they've lived through false belief systems, through perspectives that aren't working for them. And you'd be amazed, once you sort of remove or sort of help to shift one of those, then true healing can happen. And, you know, we do find that, like, when someone's not feeling balanced, or they're not feeling well, when there's something wrong within the body, it starts first usually on the mental, emotional realm. And so the energy, it's all energy, you know, everything is energy. So the energy starts there, and then it can manifest within the body. And usually it manifests in the body after, because you are form. Energy takes a little while to get into form. So once it's happening within the body, then it's in form, and it's in your face, and it's time to work on it. You know, you have the message very loud and clear. So I do energy medicine because it works. I think some people might listen to me and think, you know, maybe it sounds a little airy-fairy or whatever. But I will say that in my own life, it's really the only thing that's like truly worked to create lasting change.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it. I'm a very, very practical person. I don't do things that don't make sense, but it works so well that I do this all the time with people. So, and for my own, even in my own healing journey, I mean, I only do it because it's worked for me when I've needed healing. So, so it works. And Alex, I hope you don't mind me tossing questions back, but you've experienced it.
Yeah,
so.
I can attest to it. I was going to actually just say I can attest to that, because I'm actually pretty skeptical when it comes to certain things. I grew up religious, and even then it wasn't necessarily something that I'd always like tied to when it comes to things beyond what the actual religious aspect of things were, but the actual spiritual healing and, you know, that aspect of, like, for example, of Reiki, where you're feeling that energy upon you. It's like some people probably are more skeptical than I, and might think it's like, oh, well, that doesn't work. And I can attest to it. I walked into it extremely skeptical. I'm like, well, I'll give this a shot. I was recommended by a friend, and those first 2 sessions I had with you said, all right, how do I keep doing this? Because this is working. I was barely able to walk a few times, just with really bad lupus flare-ups, and making it to those appointments helped tremendously.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then one thing you were talking about, like, you can't work in like that anxious or overstimulated state.
Yeah.
And that's because of the just who I am with, like, I get a little restless. My mind gets restless. Something that you introduced into those sessions, I've been able to continue using. And those are the guided meditations.
Oh, nice.
Where it's like, it would just be like, we'd close our eyes. Shoes would be off. I'd be feet planted firmly on the ground and connecting to earth, and then just being walked through, and it would literally melt all the stress and tension in those moments and just help me get ready to allow myself to heal.
Absolutely. And I'll plug, I do have a YouTube channel, Nicky Moreau-Cormier. If you do a search, you'll find me.
Yep. And you also have a website too, right?
I do. NickyMoreauHealing.com. And Moreau is Moreau. And yeah, guided meditation, it's wonderful for healing. So when you're on a healing journey, and I'll talk physical for a moment, because people can really relate to physical issues, you know, and we all have them as humans.
Yep.
When you have a physical issue, you go to the doctor, which is good, and you get they have such wonderful diagnostics, and you figure out what's going on. And they also have some wonderful tools, in terms of medication, sometimes surgery, and those are wonderful tools too. But I think that once you have done that and you have something that continues going on, it's time to go see an energy healer where you can get to the root of the issue so that you can overcome it. Because, while some drugs will help you to overcome an issue, some are just, for maintenance. You have something wrong and it's like, oh, now I need a painkiller for X or whatever it is. Exactly. And that gets us over the bridge and, serves a great purpose. But it's like, okay, I don't want to have pain I don't want to have to sort of treat a symptom for forever necessarily if I don't have to. Exactly. And so energy healing is really wonderful for that. So, sort of helping to get it up by the roots so you're not having to treat that symptom forever kind of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think sometimes you have to, if something isn't working, you have to find something new.
Absolutely. 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 And the meditations, that's absolutely an important part of, well, it can be there's so many flavors of energy medicine, but you mentioned the meditation. Meditation gets you into a quiet state. And one of the things I love about meditation is that it puts the power within your own hands to help heal yourself, because your mind is so powerful. You are a powerful creator. You listen to a guided meditation. When you put your body into a calm state of being and you start visualizing what it is that you desire, or you start releasing, pain from the body, or whatever the guided meditation is about, you start releasing stress or anxiety. When you do that in that calm state, it's extremely powerful. One of the things I want to say about energy medicine is that it shows how powerful people are. They are so, and I don't know if people realize how personally empowered they are, to create change in their lives. And that's one of the things that I really want to get across to people. People have power with they have powerful immune systems, they have powerful minds that create, and all these tools are about bringing the power back to you to be able to do that kind of thing. So yeah. I love the personal empowerment piece of what I do.
And it is extremely empowering as well. Now, you mentioned you had a YouTube channel, which I actually am subscribed to, and you had and you mentioned your website, which, by the way, for all our listeners and viewers, all of our handles and links to the YouTube and website will be posted in the description to this video. So even though we're going to give a quick shout out and tag everything at the end, if you missed something, that you didn't hear, everything is going to be available to access Nicky's services and talents through this video.
Thank you, Alex.
Of course. Now, what got you into Reiki?
Oh boy. So, well, this is quite I don't know have we ever talked about this, Alex?
I think you and I briefly talked
Okay.
about it, but I want to like open the doors to our audience.
Okay, so it's quite a story, to be honest. So back in 2006, this is when my own sort of journey began. I went through a period of my life where I felt chronically ill, and this lasted about 2 years of my life. And I went to every specialist under the sun, trying to figure out what the heck was going on with me. And at the time, I'll tell you, I didn't believe really, I was interested in some of this stuff, but I was open a little bit, maybe a little bit open, but doubtful at the same time, like, you know, interested, but sort of doubtful.
Yeah.
And one of the things I didn't mention this at the beginning about energy work and energy medicine is that there is a spiritual component. It doesn't matter what religion you are, but, you know, energy comes from somewhere, you know, so, and I would say it comes from a higher power. And back in 2006, I don't even know if I really believed in that, you know, I don't even know if I believed in that sort of higher power. I was in a very different place in my life. So anyway, I went through this period of chronic illness, and I'll be very sort of frank and honest here. At the time, I needed help. You know, I was emotionally sort of a mess. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And this went on for about 2 years of my life. And I ended up going to see a therapist. And she has sort of an energy medicine bent to her. And through those appointments, I started to become more open. I started healing, you know, I started healing emotionally. And one day I said, you know, when you are hurting, there's nowhere really else to turn, but then to turn to spirit. And I was at that point. I looked to spirit and I said, if you exist, I need to see a sign. And I left her office that day and I saw right above this giant rainbow as soon as I walked out of the office. And I knew that was, you know, my sign. And it was very eye-opening to me. And then I started getting more and more interested in this. I started reading more about, you know, spiritual texts and energy texts. And I started taking classes in it. And I started taking classes with Lisa Campion, who you know, Alex.
I do.
And I was still sick, and I started energy medicine school because I was so interested. Mm-hmm. And the teacher of the class said, you need to come and see me. And I was like, yeah, you know, and she's psychic. She's, you know, she is very gifted. And she said, you need to come and see me. And I said, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm, you know, seeing a naturopathic doctor, which was great, you know, and I'm doing this diet and I'm, you know, I have all these, you know, I'm doing this course and I'm good. I think I'm good for now. But anyway, she kept kind of saying, you should come in to see me. So eventually I go in to see her. And I went into that appointment and I left her office healed.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, the chronic illness disappeared. And to sort of tell what happened, I didn't give you this background, but at the time when all this was happening, I actually was living with my ex-partner in a funeral home. And what I was experiencing, the reason I was ill, was that a spirit from that funeral home had attached to me.
Oh, wow.
And when I went to Lisa that day, she released the attachment, that like the spirit didn't want to cross over and sort of attached itself to me. And I was sort of feeling, I was actually feeling the physical symptoms of this, that the spirit died with. I know it's bizarre. But the spirit had died of Alzheimer's, and I was like feeling very foggy headed. I actually thought I had a brain tumor or something. And I took on the spirit's physical ailments, like that they experienced, like a death. Very strange. Wow. And the spirit was afraid to cross over for various reasons and sort of stuck to me, for lack of a better way to put it. And she released it that day and invited the light to come in, and the spirit left. And I felt better. and my mind was completely blown because I went from chronically ill to better like that. And it was at that moment that I became like, I realized like I had done so many things and it was an energy metaphysical thing that was wrong with me. And that was the biggest eye opener for me, really, of my life. So, you know, to go from sick to well within seconds is, you know, nothing will open your eyes more than that. So, so that was how, and then from there, I started going to more energy medicine schools. I felt like now I had purpose, like a new purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to help others. You know, I wanted, that had such an impact on me. I wanted to help others on their healing journey too. And that's what I do.
That's amazing. So you started getting healed back in 2006. When did you start practicing Reiki on others?
It was actually, I mean, I practiced, professionally, I started doing it in 2011, but there was that whole buffer. I mean, I think I started taking classes in 2008, and then I did it for 3 years, and then I started practicing Reiki professionally. Or something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I've been doing Reiki for 10 years.
Nice. Now, because you know, you like we were briefly discussing about, you also do the guided meditations and the spiritual tarot. So how did you start tying those? Because one thing I can say about, because I've gotten Reiki from different places and from different practitioners and healers, and everyone's style is unique and different. And one thing I can always lean on towards you is that the way you mix the Reiki and the guided meditation, then you add in a little bit of spiritual tarot. How did you end up finding these and tying them together?
That's a good question. So I think, you know, my own style comes from my own life experience, you know, so I was so interested in all of these modalities, and I was taking classes in a lot of things. And I think I just have like a toolbox full of tools. And when someone comes in, it's like, hey, this seems like the best tool for whatever's going on at the time. And I just use the tools that I have available. So that's, I guess that's a very simple answer, but
sometimes sometimes the simple answer is the most direct, you know?
Yeah. And I guess for me, you know, I get energy work as well. And I love it when I get a couple, you know, I love like having a flavor of different aspects. I've gone to healers too that are so good in one thing. And it's great because you'll go and they do the one thing and it's like, hey, they are fabulous at it, and you get that fully. And I guess maybe my own style is I feel like a jack of all trades in a sense, to give it that term. And so I sort of, you know, I do it all. There's not like one that I'm like, this is the one. And I just like, I'm going to do this. And so, you know, it's just, that's my style.
And that's great. Like your style is, like I said, each energy healer and Reiki practitioner is going to have their own style and person, almost like they have their own person, just like they have their own personality, they have their own way of healing and their own style. So it's really cool to see. And the way you've integrated the Reiki with the tarot and the guided meditation is fantastic, where you're there, you're being kind of eased out so that you're relaxed and you're willing to accept the blessings that the universe, or how you say the divine, is providing for you. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah. And I find, Alex, like when people come in, you know, you're talking about meditation, and I always start with a meditation, short meditation, because it gets people into the vibe to heal, so to speak. You know, like when they come in and they've been rushing to get here and whatever, and they've been, you know, they're talking to their kid on the phone on the way, and, you know, they have this going on, that like they come in a little scattered.
Yep.
And truly your healing capacity is the extent that you are in resonance with it and are present for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I love it.
You heal to the level that you're present for the healing. If you're not present, it's hard to heal.
Now, what advice would you give to people who are just first starting out doing not just Reiki, but the guided meditations as well, where they're kind of like first starting to like try to meditate? Because I know a lot of people who love the idea of meditation, but the actual execution of meditation is a completely different story.
Yeah, it is. So in terms of meditation, what I would say is, I think it's good to have a goal. You know, do you want to sleep better at night? You know, if you want to sleep better at night, you might want to do guided meditations right before bed. Do you want to become less anxious? Do you want to connect with the divine? Like, what is it that you're seeking to get out of the experience is where I would start. And then from there, okay, it's like, you know, what's going to be the best tools for me? And there's so many different styles of meditation out there. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, you know, then you're picking a style of meditation. I would suggest for beginners, guided meditations are really great because you don't have to think too much about it. There's literally a voice that narrates it and walks you through the whole thing. And you can see, you know, if you want 20 minutes, you can find like on YouTube or on a guided meditation app, you can find a 20-minute meditation and just do it for that long. So I think guided meditations are really wonderful to start with. I think a couple things where people stumble. I hear this from people all the time. They'll say, I can't stop thinking. You know, I hear that a lot. I don't meditate because I can't stop thinking. And
that was me, believe it or not.
Oh, really, Alex?
Yeah, that was me. Like the guided meditations, like I've done the guided meditations and I tried shifting off to just doing the regular meditation, no guiding and just letting things come in. And I noticed that the chatter would come in and I'd get a little restless. And so I ended up going back to guided meditations because I found them more effective for my needs in that aspect because of my mind. It didn't, like, if I'm left to my own accord, right, in my mind, forget about it. The meditations are just start building up into other things. And they're like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And how do we tie this? So it was just like guided meditation. You're literally just chilling out and letting the voice guide you to where you need to get to.
100%. Like that's one of the really nice things about guided meditation. And, you know, and I tell people, if you start thinking, you know, it's okay. You know, we're humans, like we have minds that are very active and that's okay. So what I would say in those moments, if the thoughts come up, you see it like a cloud. It's like, and you recognize the cloud, there's a thought and you let it float by and you go back to silence. And then if it happens again, oh, there's another cloud and you let it go by. And I'll say to people too, you know, because it can happen in guided meditations too. People still think or whatever. And I'll say, how do you react to yourself when you catch yourself thinking in meditation? Are you beating up on yourself? Are you forgiving yourself and just letting it go by? Because it speaks to how you operate in your life too. You know, it's, you know, if if you're sort of like getting really self-critical or you give up, it's like, all right, where else do you get really self-critical and give up? Like the meditation is going to show you your patterns, you know, like it really does. Like healings do the same thing. It's like, you know, I get someone on the table for Reiki and, you know, they can't, let's say they can't sort of relax. It's like, why? You know, it just, and it's because if it's happening in the session, it's happening in other places in their life, you know? Absolutely. So it's like, you know, every time I see something in meditation or on the table, it's like, all right, that shows you your pattern or one of your patterns right there. So anyway, so it's really wonderful for sort of bringing things to the surface.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, meditation, you know, our lives go so fast. And I think most of the people I see who come in here, or, you know, many of them, well, everyone deals with stress, you know, everyone deals with a busy life. And meditation gives you a chance to stop for a moment and receive. And scientifically, studies have shown that people who even take like 15 minutes a day, that their blood pressure goes down, that they're healthier. Like there's all these sort of, you know, benchmarks for health, and people who just meditate for a little bit each day are healthier. It was funny, way back, I remember I went to the doctor one day, and I said to her, I said, I'm concerned about my blood pressure getting high. I'm not exercising like I should. And my doctor is very open about different things. And she said, if you can't exercise as much as you should, can you at least meditate? Because that's going to bring your heart rate, and that's going to bring your blood pressure down. And I thought, wow, isn't that great? You know, that she's, you know, recognizing, you know, that this can be used as a tool to bring, you know, blood pressure down. So if you want overall health, like meditation is shown to really help with that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Alex, I know for me and probably for you too, like,
oh yeah,
I get messages, like I get divine guidance when I meditate.
Yep. It's some, you know, sometimes when you're letting yourself heal in meditation, believe it or not, it's basically lowering that anxiety and melting away that stress so that you can raise your vibration to a higher level and receive that healing as well. So it's another form of energy work to some degree. So True. when you're receiving that, you're receiving the messages you're supposed to be getting to help put you on a healthier and happier path.
Yes, and sometimes I'll have a question about something within, you know, my mind, and I'm pondering something, and I'll sit in meditation and I'll be quiet, and suddenly like the answer pops in. It's like, and I honestly think it's because the answers are there for you, but we're always working so fast and doing 100 things, they can't like make their way in, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you get quiet for a minute, it's like, oh, okay, the answer can come in now, you know? So, and you're right, Alex, I love what you said about when you meditate, we'd call it ups your vibration, you know, it makes your energy more whole. And when your energy is more whole, well-being is also like a state of wholeness. Yep. And so as you meditate, you sort of meet that state of, you know, wholeness, like the same vibration, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it does, you know, it raises your vibration so that you can heal. So wonderful tool in that way.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Now, because like we had mentioned earlier, I actually took Reiki classes with you. Mm-hmm. Do you have any upcoming classes that you want that we can promote?
That's a good question. You know, I would like to offer in-person classes again. I think that will be coming. And right now, what I have been doing is, I mean, I've always taught in-person classes, and then when COVID hit and everything, I had to pivot, like many of us have had to. Mm-hmm. And I do have Reiki I in a hybrid format, so people can do Reiki I. They watch like 4 videos, and then they come in to see me, and we do what's called an attunement so that they can be open to channel Reiki, and they also get to experience Reiki, and then they get their certification. So Reiki I is hybrid format. It's on my website, and I'm in the process of developing Reiki II that way. But it's been wonderful because people can do it at their own pace. Yep. It's great because while I love in-person classes, sometimes people can't make them, and they're like, oh, I really want to do that class, but I'm not available Wednesday nights. And it's like, you know, so it's great because they don't have those restraints, you know, with this. And I will be teaching more in-person classes as time goes on, and I always post those on my website when I do.
Great. So for anybody who's interested after this video, who's interested in learning more about Reiki and possibly taking a class, Nicky on her website, which the link will be posted below in the description, is offering classes for anyone who's interested and would like to tune in. And little pun there, not intentional.
Yeah.
Wants to tune in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Appropriate.
Yeah, it felt right.
Absolutely.
Great. Now you also do you do in-person healing sessions. You also do what's called distance healing, where the person does, for example, it could be over the phone, or it could be just like this via a Zoom meeting.
Yes, and that was something that happened during COVID. I switched over sometimes to doing online sessions. So I can do them either way. One of the really wonderful things about energy medicine is that it's not limited by time or space, so to speak. So, you know, let's say you wanted Reiki, but you couldn't make it in for a session. I can still give you the Reiki while you're at your home and I'm here. So, so that's an option too, you know, and that's great for people who don't live close as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, before we start wrapping up, is there anything you want to plug or promote? I know we have your website and your YouTube channel. Is there anything else coming up that we want to take a moment to acknowledge?
Well, I think right now is a wonderful time for healing. I think the world is in a very interesting place. There's a lot of changes happening. And, you know, I honestly feel that humanity is in a time, that this time in humanity is a time for healing. And that starts on the individual level, you know, and as we heal our own traumas, our own issues, it doesn't only affect us, it ripples out. You know, we are a collective of people, and believe it or not, you know, an individual's energy affects a collective of energy. And as we heal our own stuff, we heal it for the collective, you know, I honestly. And so right now is a really wonderful time to release traumas, to heal belief systems that aren't working for you anymore, to heal emotional issues, stress, anxiety, that kind of thing. So use this time, you know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of us feel sort of lost in it, and it's like scary, and it's like, use this time. Like, we're in a time of transition on a collective, you see, obviously feel it, and individually. The other thing I'd say, and this isn't necessarily a plug, it's just sort of, as we go through this, when I see people and they come in, a lot of people are trying to wrangle with a lot of issues and a lot of things. And this is a very simple thing, but I really suggest that this is a small tool, but if you can just stop, you know, a few times a day and take 3 deep breaths and feel yourself receiving during those 3, you know, receiving from the universe, receiving goodness, receiving healing. Just, and 3 breaths honestly takes 1 minute. You know, I've timed it. For me, it's usually like 1 minute, 10 seconds. But, you know, morning, you know, and then afternoon, night, you know, if you can just once in a while, when you feel like you need that pause, like you're, you know, getting amped up, take 3 breaths. And I heard someone say this term and I really loved it. So I'm going to say it. They, you know, rest and digest. You know, you just give yourself those little pauses to rest and digest what's going on for you.
I like that.
Yeah. You know, because I think we're all trying to action out, you know, take a lot of action and figure things out. And it's like, oh, that's a sitting back and receiving. So, I mean, you know, if you can do that, you know, just when you feel like you need it, you know, it's like, I need to just take 1 minute.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, it literally takes to take 3 deep breaths. It's literally less than a minute. You're as we were talking about this, I just did 3 deep breaths.
Nice.
And it is so settling and calming. It really is.
It takes 3 breaths to initiate the relaxation response in your body. And I think that healing on this planet is going to happen in accordance with how much our as a collective, our nervous system calms down.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. And it falls on how much are we willing to allow ourselves to heal as individuals.
True. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You know, it takes courage to heal. It takes courage to heal. And as an aside, you know, as I do energy work with people, sometimes it surprises me sometimes. So people will actually make excuses not to heal sometimes, because it's like it can be scary because it takes people out of their norm.
It takes them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, or they're afraid to be seen. You know, I see that a lot. People are afraid to be seen. They're afraid to show their shadow, you know, to show the things that aren't so pretty about them. And I guess, Alex, what I'd want to say is, you know, as a healer, I think I'm very compassionate in that way. You know, I'm not here to judge anyone.
Yeah, and I can attest to that.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, take advantage of the energies of now and do the inner work. You're going to help yourself and you're going to help so many others.
Exactly. That's perfect. Yeah, I love that. So before we sign off, where can everyone find you? We had talked about your website. You want to mention that? Your YouTube channel? Are you on social media?
I do have a social media page, Nicky Moreau Healing. If you look that up on Facebook. And also, I'm at Back in Touch Wellness Center in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. That's where I see people in person. And of course, I can do online appointments as well. And you can look at my website to know what's going on, you know, currently. And I'm easily found.
Wonderful. And your website is NickyMoreauHealing.com?
Yes.
And that Nicky Moreau Healing as well for the YouTube channel, right?
For YouTube, it's Nicky Moreau-Cormier. From when I got married 3 years ago now. The website never changed. I've just carried on the same website forever, just not to, you know, lose my traffic or whatever. Exactly. So, yeah.
Okay. So, and again, all those links will be available in the description below on this video. Nicky, thank you so much for making time for me with this segment. And thank you to all the listeners who tuned in. This has been another episode of Alex Lopez Talks, and make a round of applause for Nicky Moreau-Cormier. And check out her website, check out her YouTube, and check out her Facebook. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.